Have you ever been lying awake at 3 a.m., completely obsessing over some tiny, insignificant mistake you made? Or maybe you felt totally emotionally drained just because someone left your text message unread? Well, if that sounds familiar, you are absolutely in the right place. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to break down the genuinely fascinating, and honestly very compassionate, neuroscience behind why your mind just never seems to shut off, and how we can gently start training it for peace.
Look, let's just go ahead and get the guilt completely out of the way right off the bat. What if your brain literally wasn't designed to make you happy? That chronic nighttime overthinking, that heavy feeling that you're somehow always falling behind, those are not personal failures. They aren't. They're actually the result of a highly sophisticated ancient survival system running exactly the way it was built to run. There is absolutely nothing fundamentally broken about you. You see, if we strip it all down, your brain really only has one primary job, and that is to keep you alive. Not peaceful, not blissfully fulfilled, just alive. Think about it. Thousands of years ago, the humans who actually survived were the ones who constantly scanned the horizon for danger, right? The guys who just sat back and assumed everything was perfectly safe in the bushes, yeah, they didn't survive very long. So your biology literally evolved to prioritize problems, threats, and mistakes over joy. You are hardwired with a negativity bias because historically, missing a threat meant game over. So now we have this massive evolutionary mismatch. Your ancient brain was built to be constantly on high alert for physical threats, like predators. High alert equals survival. But flash forward to our modern world, and your brain is using that exact same life or death threat detection system for social and emotional stuff. When someone ignores your text message, your ancient brain interprets that as social rejection, which to our ancestors literally meant being cast out of the tribe and left to die. You make a tiny typo in a work email, and your brain rings the alarm like it's a fatal physical injury. Same brain, completely different world. No wonder we're all so exhausted. Now, here's where the science gets incredibly hopeful. The solution to all this exhaustion lies in a concept called neuroplasticity. Because our threat detection system runs so automatically, a lot of us spend years just assuming, well, I guess I'm just naturally an anxious person. But your brain isn't fixed in stone. It is constantly rewiring itself based on what you repeatedly think, feel, and do. Meaning, your everyday habits are not just silly little routines. They are direct physical instructions teaching your brain which neural pathways to strengthen. There's this famous rule in neuroscience that sums this up perfectly. Neurons that fire together wire together. It basically means that if you repeatedly practice stress or comparing yourself to others on social media or overthinking, well, your brain physically becomes better and faster at doing those things. But, and this is a huge but, if you repeatedly practice calm, presence, and gratitude, you literally build brand new physical pathways for peace. You don't have to magically become a totally different person to feel better. You just have to train the brain you have slightly differently. All right, so how do we actually do this? Let's move into the real-world application here. We're going to walk through 10 very small, super accessible daily shifts to slowly pull your mind out of that exhausting survival mode. And don't worry, this isn't about toxic positivity. These are scientifically backed habits for building genuine emotional balance. Let's start with the first three. Habit 1, interrupt the negative loop. When you feel your mind spiraling into worst-case scenarios, just pause. Focus on something intensely physical, like the literal feeling of your feet pressing into the floor. Every single time you interrupt that spiral, you weaken that old anxious pathway. Habit 2, absorb positive moments for an extra 10 seconds. Because of that negativity bias we talked about, bad moments stick to our brains like Velcro, but good ones slide right off like Teflon. So when something nice happens, don't just rush past it. Hold on to it, feel it, deliberately let your brain store it. And habit 3, reduce mental noise. Sometimes your anxiety is just plain old overstimulation. Give yourself tiny pockets of complete digital silence every day. Which brings us to something absolutely crucial: the huge difference between guilty rest and true recovery. So many of us rest our bodies by, say, sitting on the couch, but our minds are sprinting. We're sitting there thinking, I'm so far behind, I really shouldn't be relaxing right now. That is guilty rest, and it keeps your nervous system completely locked in survival mode. True recovery is resting while mentally telling yourself, this is recovery, and I absolutely need it. Your brain is a biological machine, guys. It will overheat without true, unapologetic pauses. We have to stop treating rest like it's a crime. And tying right into regulating that nervous system is the simple fact that motion changes emotion. Your brain and your body are deeply intertwined. When you sit completely physically still all day staring at screens, that stress literally stays trapped inside your tissues. Moving your body every day, whether that's just a quick walk around the block, stretching in your living room, or literally just putting on one song and dancing in your kitchen, it signals physical safety back to your nervous system. You don't need some intense, punishing workout. The goal is just motion. It dissipates trapped stress faster than almost anything else. For the next few habits, you really need to fiercely protect your mental space. Start by bringing back play. Just do things for the pure joy of it, without trying to monetize it or optimize it. Just play. Next, watch your self-talk. Instead of looking in the mirror and saying, I always fail at this, try shifting it to, I am learning. It's not fake positivity, it's just being accurate. Also, you've got to protect your attention from draining algorithms. Your brain becomes what it repeatedly absorbs, so curate your feeds. Finally, practice presence. Anxiety usually lives in the imagined future, right? And regret lives in the past. But grounding yourself in simple present moments, like really feeling the warm water while you wash your hands, that teaches your brain that you are safe right here, right now.
Okay, but honestly, the absolute most important part of this entire explainer is habit 10, repeating small actions consistently. This is how these changes actually take root in your biology, and it's the part that almost everyone misunderstands. Real neuroplasticity is slow. It's quiet and it's subtle. You aren't going to try one of these habits today and wake up tomorrow as this perfectly zen, enlightened being. Brains don't change through sudden bursts of weekend motivation. They change through boring, daily repetition. On day 1, you practice a small habit. By day 30, you might just notice you bounce back from a rude email a tiny bit faster than usual. And by day 90, calm actually starts to become your subtle natural baseline. Not because your life magically became perfect and stress-free, but because your brain simply stopped working against you.
So, I want to leave you with this final thought to really ponder. Instead of trying to overhaul your entire personality and your whole life by tomorrow morning, what is the one single tiny habit you will practice today? Is it holding on to a positive moment for 10 extra seconds? Maybe just taking a 5-minute walk without your phone? Just pick one tiny shift and repeat it. Because your future isn't shaped by huge, dramatic leaps. It's shaped by the small, quiet things you repeat every single day. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I truly hope you find a moment of real, unapologetic peace today.